What's good, my YouTube family? Alex here, back again with another video. Thank you as always for tuning into the channel. I apologize for the setup here. I got a lot going on now because I am working from home officially. So I'm gonna go ahead and get y'all some better quality as far as the angles and all that goes. But for now, we kind of got to thug it out on the ghetto side a little bit for now. Today, y'all, I'm gonna be saying something positive about every NBA team this season. And this is coming from a casual. I'll be the first to tell y'all, I have not been up on my NBA game this year as much as I have in years past. Part of that is just because I don't have cable, just to be honest with you, the way I used to. 2, I live on the East Coast. And 3, I ain't got cable, bro. Like, I be illegal streaming as much as I can, but I just can't catch every single game, and I don't even be seeing the highlights like that no more. So this may be a stretch, but y'all know me. I try to be a positive person, and I want to say something pretty dope about every single team. We're going to go 1 through 15 in each conference based off of the seeding, so these first few teams shouldn't be too hard. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference and the Brooklyn Nets sitting at the number 1 seed at 17-8. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games. They did go ahead and lose the game. It might have been yesterday or 2 days ago to the Rockets. No KD. Obviously, Brooklyn, y'all got to get the job done. James Harden has not been his usual MVP James Harden self all season, but nothing to worry about. Brooklyn is still a team that I think will at least be in the Eastern Conference Finals for sure. If they do get Kyrie back, I'm going to go out and say I think it's a wrap that Brooklyn can get the job done if they have their 3 guys. For their one positive thing, I'm going to say just the fact that Kevin Durant is still carrying this team and showing why he's the best player on the planet officially. I think he needs to get crown that title if he hasn't already. And Brooklyn sitting at the number 1 seed with all the adversity they've had to go through this year with one of their star players really shows a lot about this team and their core group and how everybody's looked. And shout out to LaMarcus Aldridge as well, who's had a resurgence of a season. I really like what I've seen from him. I'm not going to talk too much about Brooklyn because y'all watch them every single night anyways. Second team, big shout out to Chicago Bulls. Talk about a team who had an interesting offseason, a team who got a lot of flack. You know, people weren't really sure that this core would go ahead and gel together. People were complaining about DeMar DeRozan's contract at his age and how he would fit in with Zach LaVine, but it's been a seamless fit, you know. Chicago sitting at 17-9 on the season, number 2 seed in the East. People wasn't saying that. People had Chicago being the 7th or 8th seed for the most part coming into the season. So big shout out to this team just for gelling so well. Big shout out to Lonzo Ball for hitting his threes on a very efficient clip. Shout out to Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, who are both respectively putting up, I think, 25, 26 points per game. It's been a beautiful sight to see Ayo Dosunmu. I hope I'm saying his name right. I've seen him play a little bit off the bench. That dude has a lot of heart. I like what I've seen from them. So big shouts out to Chicago for proving everybody wrong and keep it up. Number 3, we got the Milwaukee Bucks sitting at 16-10, 8-2 in their last 10 games. First thing I got to do is give a big shout out to DeMarcus Cousins for getting back into the NBA. Y'all know me as a Kings fan. Boogie has always been one of my favorite players, and I'm excited to go ahead and see him back in the league. And he actually hasn't done too bad from at least the box scores that I've seen so far. But big shout out to Milwaukee overall, just from recovering from a slow start that they had coming into this season. Giannis is really starting to round out into MVP form again. This is looking like a team who has a chance to go back to the finals again. So big shouts out to Milwaukee getting this done still with all the injuries they've had, from the Dante DiVincenzo's being hurt to Chris Middleton being hurt to Brook Lopez being hurt and just being a depleted roster and still getting the job done. I love what I'm seeing from Milwaukee. Number 4, we got the Miami Heat sitting at 15-11. This is a team who has struggled a little bit as of late, but same thing, I know that they have been dealing with some injuries as well. Big shouts out to Tyler Hero. He's averaging like 21 a game. Big shout out to some of their other guys. Gabe Vincent, he's really done a good job of just hooping, you know, a young guy who's taking advantage of his opportunity. Max Struss has done a good job of taking advantage of his opportunity. And Miami just always seems to be a team that knows how to just develop their players and find these guys who people don't really think much of as an NBA player and groom them into quality NBA players. Shout out to Duncan Robinson. That's all I'm going to say about Miami, just because I personally have not watched them too much to see for myself how the Kyle Lowry fit has looked, how Bam Adebayo has looked, other than just seeing their stats. But I do like what I'm seeing from Miami. I think this is a big bounce back year from kind of the disappointing year that they had last season. And I think that they're a team that can compete. Number 5, Washington Wizards. This is another team who is struggling a little bit right now. They got up to a hot start, and they're kind of coming back down to the surface. You know, they are sitting at 15-11, 4-6 in their last 10 games. The biggest thing that I want to say about this team is their record for one, and just how the ex-Lakers have fit in so well from what I have seen. Shouts out to Montrezl Harrell for leading that second unit and really kind of having a resurgent season for himself. Kyle Kuzma has done his thing. He just hit a game winner the other day, and they've kind of done a good job while Bradley Beal kind of got off to a slow start this season. The rest of these core pieces have really done a good job of stepping up. Spencer Dinwiddie, another great acquisition off from Brooklyn last season. Denny Advidja is looking better from what I've seen, really doing a good job of finding his role this year compared to last. And as a Washington Wizards fan, if you are one, you just have to be happy that this team is sitting in the 5 seed after years of kind of struggling. Number 6, this is a team that's also finally starting to get back into the groove of things with one of their top players coming back, Joel Embiid. Philadelphia 76ers sitting at 14-11 on the season. They're 6-4 in their last 10, but on a 3-game winning streak. And if you know anything about this team, they've battled just adversity all season. 1, dealing with the Ben Simmons saga, obviously, to 2, Joel Embiid being sidelined, having the whole COVID. This whole team, I believe, was hit by COVID for the most part. Embiid's been out of the lineup. Tobias Harris has been out of the lineup. Tyrese Maxey has been a huge for this team, just stepping up, in his second year. And they're at a point now where they're like, hey, we can go ahead and move off of Ben Simmons at some point because Tyrese Maxey has been getting these reps in. He's looking like a quality point guard in this league, and he's looking like he has a chance to be special. So shouts out to Philly just for staying afloat. I think this is a team that can easily go from a 6 seed to a 3 or 4 seed, with the way that they're starting to play now. Philly's going to do some work this year. Number 7, this is another team that definitely deserves a lot of respect. That's the Cleveland Cavaliers, y'all. Sitting at 14-12, they are 5-5 in the last 10 games. I want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to Evan Mobley, who is looking like the rookie of the year so far. That's been a great fit, and who would have thought a lineup of Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, Lauri Markkanen would go ahead and fit so well as far as having 3 guys who basically are 7-footers. But it's working for Cleveland. I love what I'm seeing from them. Darius Garland has looked amazing. I know Colin Sexton is out for the year, but this is a team who still found ways to win regardless. Number 8, I got to show some love to my second team now, the Atlanta Hawks. This is another team who is kind of up and down, but they're looking good as of right now. They're sitting at 7-3 in their last 10 games, 13-12 on the season. This is a team who was like 5 or 6 games under 500, I believe, about 3 weeks ago or so, I want to say. But this team is really rounding out into form. John Collins, Trae Young are really doing a good job at getting the job done, especially with the injuries that the Hawks have had. Bogdanovich is out right now. Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, who they just seem to always be hurt. They're out of the lineup. Solomon Hill just got hurt. But big shout out to guys like TLC stepping up, Clint Capella. I just like what I've seen from the Hawks overall. So big shouts out to these guys for getting the ball rolling and showing, hey, we were in the Eastern Conference Finals for a reason. We could bounce back and prove it to y'all again this year. And at number 9, geez, that's sad to see they fell all the way to number 9. But we got the Charlotte Hornets, y'all, sitting at 14-13, so they are still a game over 500. 4-6 in their last 10 games. Losers of 2 straight. And you got to think that with LaMelo being sidelined right now due to COVID, you got to expect this team to drop a little bit. But overall, the growth that we've seen from Miles Bridges has been huge. Definitely has to be one of the candidates for most improved player of the year. I love what I've seen from him. Scary Terry Rozier is still doing a good job of getting it done. LaMelo is already looking like he should be an all-star in just his second year. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. That boy has just been hooping. And this is a team who you just have to root for. You have to love just the chemistry that this team has, the confidence this team has, the swag this team has, and even just from the players to the announcers to just the arena in general. Like Charlotte, they lit, and I'm excited to see what Charlotte can do. I think this is a team to watch over the next few years, y'all. They gonna get the job done. Moving on to number 10, we have the Boston Celtics sitting at 13-13, 5-5 in their last 10 games. Boston has kind of struggled all season. They've been really an average team. With the Jaylen Brown situation with him being hurt, it kind of hampered them a little bit. I think they might need to trade him at some point. I will say, in regards to saying something positive about Boston, Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder has really looked good. I believe he's averaging 17 points per game on the season, and I'm happy to see him play and put up decent numbers. And I'm happy to see Al Horford back in Boston getting the job done as well. I believe he's averaging like 12 or 13 and 8 this season. I think Boston can turn it around. Big shouts out to Ime Udoka. He definitely deserves to be a coach in this NBA. And, it's growing pains. It comes with it. But Boston, I think y'all gonna turn it around. Number 11, we got the New York Knicks sitting at 12-13 on the season, 4-6 in their last 10 games. This is a team who is also starting to battle adversity. Kemba Walker is no longer out of the lineup, or no longer in the lineup, I should say. But this is a team who I'm going to say is battling adversity right now, and I think this is another team that's going to turn it around. You know, Julius Randle has struggled a little bit this season, but when you look at what their bench production has given them, that's what I'm going to say is a positive standpoint for them. From what D Rose has brought to this team, Emmanuel Quickley, Alec Burks, even though they did recently move him into the starting lineup, and being at 12-13, this is a team whose depth just can't be questioned. I've enjoyed seeing Mitchell Robinson back on the court this season, and New York, much like Boston, this is a team that I expect to turn it around at some point. Number 12, we have the Toronto Raptors sitting at 11-14. They're also 4-6 in their last 10 games. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I haven't watched a single second of Raptors basketball this season, but I know that boy Gary Trent is hoping this year. So that's who I'm going to go ahead and give my shouts out to. Gary Trent, showing that he did deserve that money. I wish that Portland kept him, honestly. But I love what I'm seeing from Toronto in spite of Goran Dragic not even playing for this team this year. I think, you know, Toronto is going to bounce back. And if it's not this season, next season, I think they will definitely be back in playoff contention. They just have to kind of work out some kinks in regards to the direction they want to go with this roster. Number 13, we have the Indiana Pacers sitting at 11-16, 5-5 in their last 10 games. And the good thing that I'm going to say is, you know, the Pacers have finally decided to move on from a good amount of their core. They are making their players expendable now. So people don't have to worry about seeing a Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis lineup together. You know, they've even made Karis LeVert available as well, who is still a pretty good NBA player, even though he is 27 years old at this point. He definitely can still hoop and get the job done. So big shouts out to Indiana just for saying, hey, we are willing to go ahead and make our core players expandable. Big shouts out to Chris Duarte, who's looked NBA ready like crazy from the little bit that I have seen this season. I mess with TJ McConnell heavy. That boy is a dog. So big shouts out to him. And, you know, Indy is a team much like Toronto. I think they will be back in playoff contention real soon. Number 14, y'all. We got the Orlando Magic sitting at 5-21, 1-9 in their last 10 games. But, you know, I love just the growth that I've seen from Cole Anthony this year. This boy has really taken that next step in this second year, really solidifying himself as a bona fide scorer in this league. You know, Orlando is a team that's also battling injuries. They don't have Markelle Fultz right now. They don't have Jonathan Isaac right now. They have so many second, third, and fourth year players that they're running out on the court. RJ Hampton, good for him to go ahead and get a lot more minutes this season. To the Mo Bamba, finally starting to do a little bit of something this year. So big shouts out to Orlando. I know that record is looking terrible, but this team, I think, is doing a good job of getting their young players a lot of minutes, good action, and I think Orlando has a bright future as well. Number 15, we got the Detroit Pistons sitting at 4-20. They are 0-10 in their last 10 games. I'm going to just say, hey, the fact that y'all got Cade Cunningham with the number 1 pick, I mean, y'all got Cade Cunningham, bro. That's pretty much all I can say about y'all at this point. You know, we'll see what happens with y'all and Jeremy Grant. If you do decide to move on from him at some point, y'all got Cade Cunningham, bro. You feel me? All right, y'all. Moving on to the Western Conference. Number 1 team. This is a team who nobody had being this good. We got the Golden State Warriors, y'all, sitting at 21-4, 8-2 in their last 10 games, and I love seeing them go back and forth with the Phoenix Suns. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Steph Curry, looking like an MVP candidate again this season. He's just a few threes shy of breaking Ray Allen's all-time record. This is a team that's just been fun to watch. I love their depth. I love the fact that they literally can go 1-9, 1-10, and this is without Klay Thompson or James Wiseman, so they're just going to get even more depth in the next couple of weeks, which is scary with Klay getting set to come back real soon. So big shouts out to Golden State. I love what I'm seeing from Wiggins even, Juan Toscano Anderson, to the Bielitsas of the world, to Gary Payton II getting run and doing his thing. Big shouts out to Golden State. Number 2, y'all, we got the Phoenix Suns sitting at 20-4, 9-1 in their last 10 games. But before that, they were on what? A 17-game win streak, 18-game win streak, something crazy like that. And I still feel like Phoenix isn't getting the love that they deserve. Big shouts out to them boys. Big shouts out to CP3, D-Book, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, Jay Crowder, Cam Payne, just that whole team. Personally, I have not watched too many Suns games this year, but this is a team who looks like they can go back to the finals. And I feel like they're not getting nearly anywhere close to the same recognition that the Warriors get, and they fairly should. I think the Suns definitely need to get some more respect on their name. Same thing with this team who's finally coming into form. We got the Utah Jazz sitting at the number 3 seed at 17-7. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games on a 5-game win streak. we know how the Jazz are. They always gonna hoop in the regular season. Big shouts out as usual to that boy D Mitchell. Big shouts out to Gobert. You know, you got guys like Patrick Beverly, and I don't even remember who the other guy was on the Timberwolves, saying Anthony Edwards, saying that he don't put fear in their heart. But hey, he's a three-time defensive player of the year for a reason. Big shouts out to Utah. Shouts out to Jordan Clarkson, Royce O'Neal, Mike Conley. We know what we're going to get from this team. And we knew it was only a matter of time before they go into form. And we're finally seeing Utah look like the Utah that we saw last. At number 4, y'all, we got the Memphis Grizzlies sitting at 14-11, 6-4 in their last 10 games. And, you know, I watched Memphis play. I believe they played Denver a few days ago, and it honestly hurt my feelings because, honestly, y'all, I feel like Memphis's roster isn't too much different from Sacramento's roster, yet these teams are just two totally different sides of the spectrum. Big shouts out to John Morant, who's just taking that leap even more onto the next step. The Desmond Baines of the world, the Jaren Jackson Jr.'s of the world, DeAnthony Melton, to even guys like Steven Adams. Like, I just love to see Memphis, a small market team, really succeed year in and year out. And, you know, this is a team that, with Ja continuing to get better, he may be able to carry this team to a Western Conference Finals at some point in the next few years. So big shouts out to Memphis just for doing their thing. Tyus Jones, another smart NBA player. Like, I just love this roster and what they bring night in and night out with that grit and grind mindset. Number 5, y'all, we have the LA Clippers sitting at 14-12. 5-5 in their last 10 games. You know, this is a team that, you know, is still doing a good job of getting it done without having Kawhi Leonard in the lineup. Another team that has suffered a lot of injuries this year. Guys have been shuffled in and out of the lineup, but you have Paul George, who's been consistent this year. You have a Reggie Jackson, who's looked pretty solid this year. A couple guys haven't looked the best. Eric Bledsoe, cough, cough. But overall, I'm happy with what I'm seeing from the Clippers, sitting at 14-12, saying, hey, we're still a playoff team. We can get the job done. Number 6, this is the team that a lot of people have really been hating on. That's the LA Lakers, sitting at 13-12. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. But whenever you have LeBron James, you have a chance. LeBron is back in the lineup, which is amazing. Russell Westbrook has cut down tremendously on the turnovers, which is amazing. He's really starting to gel a lot better with this team than previously. And overall, you know, this is a team that I expect at some point to take that turn and start getting the wins that, you know, we expect from them. But overall, LA, with as much scrutiny as you guys have gone through to be the number 6 seed, but you're only a few games out from, you're only one game out of the 4 seed, and you're only a few more games from that out of the 3 seed. This is a team that is going to turn it around at some point, I'm sure. We have the Dallas Mavericks, number 7, sitting at 12-12. Now they're 3-7 in their last 10 games, struggling. I know Luka has been in and out of the lineup, KP as well. One positive thing I want to say about them is Jalen Brunson, bro. Jalen Brunson has been hooping this year. I love what I'm seeing from him personally. I'm glad that he's taking that next step and finally getting that recognition that he deserves and showing, hey, you know, other than Luka, this is their primary ball handler. And for the most part, Jalen Brunson makes amazing decisions. He makes the right decisions. So I'm not going to say nothing negative about Dallas. I'm going to leave it at that. Number 8, y'all, we have the Denver Nuggets sitting at 12-12. They are 3-7 in their last 10 games, but how can you fault this team? Jokic is doing all he can just to will this team to wins. You look at how many injuries that they have. It feels like the whole team is out. You know, you're missing your starting point guard, your starting power forward, and your two of your 3 best players are out. But you have guys like Will Barton who have stepped up to the plate, the Monte Morrises of the world, the Campazzos of the world. Hopefully Bol can start to get some run at some point. The Zeke Najis of the world who are getting some minutes. PJ Dozier, I believe, is even getting some minutes too, if I'm not mistaken. So big shouts out to Denver. You know, this is just a great time for this team to go ahead and get a bit more experience, especially for their younger players. And hopefully Bol can get freed at some point. I want to see him hoop. Number 9, y'all, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves sitting at 11-14 on the year. They are 5-5 in their last 10 games, but they're on a 4-game losing streak. What I want to say positively about them is they were on like a 5-6 game winning streak or something like that before that. And so this is a team that's showing like, hey, maybe this core can get the job done. Maybe Anthony Edwards, Cat, D'Lo, Malik Beasley. This is a team who I think has a chance to get some more W's down the stretch. As a young team, you know, you're always going to go through the ups and the downs, but I think just seeing that winning streak that Minnesota had is something to build on, and I think they will build on that in the future. Number 10, we got the Sacramento Kings sitting at 11-14. They are 5-5 in their last 10 games, winners of 3 straight. That's pretty much what I'm going to say is positive about them. The Kings are on a 3-game win streak, have not lost in December just yet, and had an amazing win against the Magic. I believe that was last night. And, you know, this is a team that's always going to be up and down, but you got to like what you're seeing just from Marvin Bagley finally starting to get some minutes. That's the bright side that I'm going to say about this team is that guys are starting to get minutes. You have Marvin Bagley, who's getting decent minutes now. You have guys like Buddy Hield, who is really thriving coming off the bench this season. You have the Chimezie Metus of the world who are getting decent minutes this year. Y'all know I'm a Kings fan, so I can go ahead and easily talk about the Kings for 5 to 10 minutes with no problem. Number 11, we got the Portland Trailblazers sitting at 11-15. They are 3-7 in their last 10 games, losers of 4 straight. It's kind of tough for Portland, y'all. You know, Dame really has not looked the best. But at the same time, the positive is that you have to think that at some point Dame is going to turn up and he's going to get the job done. I haven't really watched too much Portland basketball games myself this season, so I'm not too sure how CJ has looked, how Nasir Little has looked, how Nurkic has looked, how Robert Covington has looked. I haven't really watched this team enough, but I will say that, you know, I think that this is the floor for this team being 11-15 and kind of struggling this whole season. I think that they will get it together, much like the Lakers, and this will be a team competing for that play-in. Number 12, y'all, we got the San Antonio Spurs sitting at 8-15. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games, losers of 2 straight. This is another team, I'm not going to lie, I have not watched the Spurs play too much, but I'm glad that they are starting to kind of hit that reset button and say, hey, we finally are going into a real rebuild. DeJounte Murray is looking like he will be our guy. That's pretty much it. I'm interested to see really how the Spurs look kind of with this rebuild. I'm interested to see what Greg Popovich, you know, does he stay around? I believe he only has like 1 more year left on his deal, but I'm interested to see what that young core what they're able to do. So I apologize, Spurs fans. I really don't have too much to say about y'all, but I'm encouraged about y'all bright future that you guys should have. Number 13, easy one, Houston Rockets in that 8-16, winners of 7 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games after losing 15 in a row or something like that. So this is amazing to see. Big shouts out to Christian Wood. I like their young core. I like Şengün. I like Josh Christopher. I know Jalen Green is out right now. Kevin Porter Jr. I know has struggled this season, but the fact that this team is on this win streak with Jalen Green being out and kind of with the whole John Wall situation, should he come back, should he not? Like, I think this is good, and this is something that organization has needed just for all that they've been through over this past 2 years. So that's what I enjoy about Houston, and get these dubs, man. Keep it going. Get this 8th win soon. Number 14, Oklahoma City Thunder, also sitting at 8-16 on the year. They are 2-8 in their last 10 games. Had that embarrassing loss earlier to the Grizzlies without Ja Morant, but one good thing I'm going to say is y'all have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and y'all have Lou Dort, bro. And Josh Giddey is looking like he should be a pretty good NBA player because that boy can pass the ball with relative ease. So that's what I'm going to say about OKC is your young core is looking like you can definitely do some things in the future, but if your name's not Shai, Josh Giddey, or Lou Dort, you might not be on the team for too much longer. Darius Bazley might. Darius Bazley is cool too. Number 15, the last team we're going to talk about, New Orleans Pelicans sitting at 7-20. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. Y'all got Zion coming back soon. That's pretty much going to be the positive point that I'm going to give New Orleans. Y'all have Zion back, and if that boy is in shape, who knows? He should be able to will y'all a few wins, but I think that y'all need to just focus on getting that boy locked up for another 4 years. Honestly, nah, I'm just playing. New Orleans, I haven't watched y'all play this season, honestly, but I will say, I'm not even going to try to say something about New Orleans, y'all. Y'all got Zion coming back at some point. That's the positive comment for y'all, but I know this is a super long video. If you guys did, go ahead and enjoy it. Make sure you leave it a like. Go ahead and comment. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. This is Alex. I'll see you guys soon in the next one. I'm out. Peace.